The haunting truth of the Ellison family. Every daughter disappears at 16, but why? In the quiet town of Eldridge, whispers of dread hung in the air, heavier than the morning fog. The Ellison family was notorious. A shadow loomed over their name, wrapped in mystery and sorrow. Every daughter, without fail, vanished on the eve of her 16th birthday, leaving only questions and a heart-wrenching absence in their wake. Was there a curse? A sinister plot? The townsfolk were divided, some shaking their heads dismissively, while others clutched their children tighter, fearful of a shadow that might reach out for them next. The phenomenon began with young Emily Ellison, her laughter bright as the sun. But when she turned 16, the light faded. She disappeared without a trace, as if the earth itself had swallowed her whole. Months go by, no clues, no leads, just an empty room adorned with birthday balloons that gradually drooped in sorrow. And that was just the beginning. Sisters followed suit, each their own cryptic enigma, each time plunging the town further into a whirlpool of fear. Strange things surrounded the Ellison home. The vibrant colors of the garden seemed to dim on those birthdays, flowers tangled as if in mourning. On the night of the disappearances, an eerie chorus of howling wind would echo through Eldridge, sending chills down the spines of even the bravest. Those who dared to approach the old Ellison house at twilight spoke of ghostly figures lurking in the windows, their faces pale and eyes wide, forever trapped in a nightmare. The mystery clutched at the townsfolk like a vice, causing coffee shop conversations to die mid-sentence as new parents recognized the unthinkable reality. What could possibly happen on that fateful day? And importantly, why did no one ever return? It was a bizarre echo of a tale that gripped the heart of Eldridge. Curiosity mixed with an urgency to protect. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As the clock struck midnight on the night of her 16th birthday, Lisa Ellison stood by her bedroom window, heart pounding like an untamed drum. She swore she saw a shadow dart across the moonlit lawn, a flicker of movement that sent a wave of panic crashing over her. A chill crawled up her spine. Was it real, or just a figment of her overactive imagination? She turned away, her breath coming in gasps as uncertainty clawed at her chest. All she wanted was to feel safe, to shield herself from the inexplicable terror that had claimed her sisters. But could she escape it? As the clock ticked down, a siren called to her, a mix of dread and irresistible curiosity, an invitation to uncover the truth that the town so desperately avoided. What was lurking in the shadows, waiting to claim another? And would she be brave enough to face it? The night held secrets, and with each tick of the clock, the darkness seemed to whisper her name. The wind howled, carrying with it whispers from the past that brushed against Lisa's skin like ghostly fingers. She peered into the night, scanning the edges of the yard, her heart a wild drum in her chest. The house felt alive with history, shadows dancing in corners where secrets lay buried deep. With a deep breath, she steeled herself, pushing the trembling fear aside. She had to know. The lives of her sisters had been snuffed out like candles, and she couldn't let the darkness continue to consume her family. Behind her, the clock ticked ominously, the sound echoing through the silent room, each chime reminding her of the minutes slipping away. Just a stupid shadow, she mumbled, trying to convince herself. Yet, doubt wrapped around her like a smothering blanket. She could almost hear their voices, Emily's laughter, the warmth of memories long lost. The thought pierced her heart. What had happened beyond that threshold? What lay in wait for her? Grabbing a flashlight, she ventured into the hall, the old wooden floor creaking beneath her hesitant steps. The air grew cold as she neared the front door. A frost creeping into her bones, the scent of forgotten dreams hung heavy. The shadows in the living room seemed to twitch, alive in their darkness, and Lisa gulped hard. Steeling herself, she hesitated at the door, the doorknob cold and unwelcoming in her palm. With a surge of courage, she twisted it and stepped outside, the night swallowing her whole. The moon cast long shadows across the lawn, illuminating paths both familiar and forbidding as Lisa crossed the threshold. A sound caught her attention, the soft whisper of voices carried by the wind, just beyond the tangled garden. Instinct urged her to retreat, but a stronger force drew her forward. Curiosity clawed at her gut until she took another step into the dark. What she found sent chills down her spine. A figure stood at the edge of the garden, cloaked in shadow. It seemed too still, too silent, and in the flickering moonlight, she could almost make out a face, partially hidden as if obscured by grief. "It's time," it murmured, its voice like a haunting echo of a lost melody. "Who are you?" Lisa's voice wavered, the question barely escaping her lips. There was something familiar about the figure, something that stirred an old memory deep within her. "You must follow," the figure urged, slowly lifting a hand toward her, beckoning her closer. Lisa's heart raced as she fought the instinct to flee. Nothing had ever escaped this family's fate. Was this her chance to rewrite history? But doubt overwhelmed her. What if this figure was a trap, a piece of the dark puzzle that buried her sisters? The figure stepped forward, revealing more of its form, and then, in a flash of moonlight, a glimpse of familiar features. Lisa gasped. "Is that?" The truth clawed at her, visceral and raw. This could be either salvation or doom. Would she dare to confront the ghosts of her family's past? With her heart in her throat, Lisa took a step forward, ready to face whatever darkness lay ahead. But as she did, a blinding flash of light enveloped her, swallowing her whole. The world changed in an instant, everything shifting and swirling, the familiar garden replaced by an abyss of shadows. Silence sat heavy around her, making it hard to breathe. Where had she gone? Was she still in Eldridge, or had something ancient awakened within the Ellison home? A cold sweat trickled down her spine as her mind raced. Had she become part of the family curse? And just as the darkness closed in, she heard the soft, chilling voice again. "Welcome to your destiny." The night was far from over, and Lisa's fight had only just begun. Would she be able to uncover the chilling truth before it consumed her entirely? The darkness wrapped around Lisa like an inescapable fog, thick and suffocating. She blinked, trying to adjust to the void surrounding her, but all she saw was an endless swirl of shadows. Panic surged as she realized she was utterly alone. The familiar sounds of the garden crickets chirping, the whisper of the wind had faded into a haunting silence that made her ears ring. "Hello?" she called out, her voice trembling. There was no reply, just the echo of her own fear bouncing back at her. It felt surreal, like a nightmare she couldn't wake from. She took a shaky step forward, the ground feeling solid beneath her but still strangely alien. With every step, dread filled her chest, tightening it like a vice. Then, the figure materialized before her, a silhouette against the inky blackness. Lisa's breath hitched in her throat. It was the same shape she had seen in the garden, now looming impossibly large. "You sought the truth," it said, its voice soft but laden with gravity. I did. Her voice trembled. "But who are you? What do you want from me?" "I am the keeper of memories, the guardian of your family's past." The figure stepped into the faint light that seemed to pulse from nowhere, revealing a face she recognized, her mother, lost to time. The resemblance was uncanny, yet the sadness in her eyes felt as cold as the grave. "You are in the place where truth and fate collide." The air around them crackled with palpable tension, thick with regret and sorrow. "What happened to my sisters? Is this a form of punishment?" Lisa felt tears prick her eyes, the familiar ache of loss spiraling through her. "No, Lisa, this is a reckoning." Her mother's voice trembled slightly, the sadness evident. "The darkness that claimed your sisters still lingers here. You must understand their stories, their choices." "Stories?" The confusion turned to anger. "They're lost. They're gone. What choice could there possibly be?" "Every choice shapes reality. Every choice leads to consequences." The figure's eyes bore into Lisa's soul, and she could feel the weight of ghosts piled high between them. You stand on the edge of a decision. To uncover the past is to unveil what was buried. Are you prepared for that burden? The shadows shifted, swirling around her as if they were alive, and Lisa's heart raced. What do I have to do? She asked, her voice steadier now, emboldened by the urgency of her quest. Determination seeped through her veins. Face the echoes of sorrow, her mother said, her voice a haunting melody in the thick air. Listen as they guide you and decide whether you wish to embrace the truth or flee into oblivion like your sisters. With that, the darkness shuddered, and Lisa stumbled back as a sudden gust of wind swept through the abyss, lifting the veil of shadows momentarily. For a fleeting moment, she caught glimpses of her sisters' faces pained, fear-filled, yet also searching for something, pleading with her to find them. But before she could reach for them, the darkness slammed back into place, and the world around her shifted again, twisted and unfamiliar. Wait, she shouted, panic clawing at her throat as she was consumed by the shadows once more. Suddenly, she felt a cold hand grasp her wrist, pulling her deeper into the void. A voice, low and echoing, whispered urgently, choose wisely. Your family's fate depends on you. And then there was a flash. Light exploded around her, blinding, and the shadows hunted for her again. The moment she thought she might be lost forever, she felt her feet touch solid ground, though it was anything but familiar. What lay ahead looked like a room from her childhood, yet twisted and warped with despair. Shadows flickered against the walls, and a chill ran down her spine. Welcome back, Lisa. It was a voice she recognized, but the words were laced with insidious laughter that made her skin crawl. She stood frozen, heart pounding, aware that the truth lurking in the limitless dark was inching closer, and she was running out of time. What awaited her here? What must she confront to break the curse that had haunted every woman in her? Family? The heart of the Ellison darkness was still out there, and it wouldn't rest until it claimed her too. Would she find the courage to face the terror? Or would she also vanish, another ghost in the family history? As the air crackled with an omen she couldn't ignore, a chilling thought rushed through Lisa's mind. What if she was destined to become the keeper of this horrifying legacy? One chilling breath later, she stepped further into the room, knowing that the next revelation could either set her free or seal her fate for all eternity. The laughter echoed like a sinister melody, twisting into the corners of her mind. Lisa felt herself drawn into the darkness, unable to look away from the familiar yet menacing figure in the shadows. Who are you? She demanded, finding her voice as she took a hesitant step forward into the room, the floor creaking underfoot as if it was alive with its own secrets. What do you want? Ah, but I've wanted so much, dear daughter. The voice purred, dripping with malice. I want you to see. There was a flicker of movement in the corner of her eye. Shapes began to form, distant apparitions swirling like smoke. They were faces she recognized. Her sisters, their expressions twisted with anguish. She reached for them, but their ethereal forms slipped through her fingers. Why can't I hold them? She cried, desperation clawing at her chest. They are not yours to hold. The figure sneered, the shadows around it deepening. They are part of a past you're too afraid to confront. You must choose, Lisa. You can walk away and let the cycle continue, or you can stay and fight for their souls. Lisa's heart raced. The ache of her sister's absence washed over her like a wave, threatening to drown her. Fight? What does that even mean? Face the truth, the figure replied cryptically, its smile widening, revealing teeth ready to devour hope. Delve into the memories that have been buried, suffocated by despair. Only then will you understand the weight of your legacy. Memories began to flood her mind, her childhood laughter, the way her sisters used to tease her, the warmth of their shared moments. But each memory was tinged with a bitter aftertaste, those late-night whispers that turned to screams, the shadows that watched them with hungry eyes. Suddenly, the room began to shift. The walls melted away, and she found herself in the garden once more, standing amongst the skeletal remains of twisted trees. Felt the same haunting, familiar, and yet, a darkness slithered among the branches. Choose your path, The voice beckoned, now echoing from within the trees themselves. Follow the whispers of those lost, or remain shackled to the present. As if responding to her thoughts, the shadows morphed into images of her sisters clutching hands, wide-eyed, mouths open in silent screams. Lisa's heartbeat roared in her ears, drowning out her fears. She took a hesitant step closer, her resolve thickening with each heartbeat. Were they truly lost? Or was there still a chance to save them? Find the truth, Lisa, she whispered to herself, determination igniting a fire in her soul. I'll find you. The shadows trembled, and Lisa felt the weight of 100 gazes upon her. She could almost hear them urging her, pushing her to confront the past. And then, the ground beneath her feet cracked open, and she was falling into a chasm of silence and dark memories. Her screams mixed with the winds that howled around her as she plummeted, the cold grip of fear wrapping around her heart tighter than before. But something inside her was shifting. She couldn't turn back. To embrace the truth was the only way to shatter the curse that enveloped her family. She landed softly on the ground. The landscape around her shifted again. A shimmering gateway loomed ahead, inviting yet foreboding. Above it, shadows danced, forming phantoms of her sisters who seemed to call to her desperately. Lisa, they echoed, each voice weaving together in deafening unity. With a deep breath, she stepped forward, adrenaline thrumming in her veins. Would this lead her to the answers she sought? The air crackled, and a sudden chill gripped her. A new voice echoed through the darkness, a voice deeper and more powerful than any she had encountered before. Welcome to the heart of the Ellison curse. Lisa froze, her heart racing. What lay beyond the gate could change everything herself. Her sisters, her family's destiny. Would she uncover the truth? Or was she about to unlock something far more terrifying? As the shadows surged forward, she took another step into the unknown, knowing one thing in her gut. The real fight was just beginning. The gateway loomed ominously, a dark portal that thrummed with energy. Shadows swirled around its edges, and Lisa felt the whispers of her sisters almost drowning out her thoughts. We're here, Lisa. Please, help us. Their cries stretched out like fingers grasping for light. She took another step closer, the threshold sending chills racing down her spine. The air buzzed, thick with anticipation, and she could taste the fear that clung to her tongue. What could lay on the other side? Would it truly lead her to save her sisters, or would it pull her deeper into the abyss? Do you want the truth? The voice echoed again, dripping with dark amusement. Then crossed the line. Your sisters are waiting, but they might not be the only ones. Who else? Lisa shot back, her voice steadying. The laughter rippled once again, echoing through the forgotten garden. With her heart thundering against her ribs, Lisa peered into the gateway, seeing flickers of movement, a glimpse of memory. Perhaps a living tableau of childhood memories laid bare. Colors flashed. Sunny afternoons, laughter shared. But a shadow stretched across the warmth, an incessant gnawing fear always present, lurking just out of sight. Suddenly, the ground shifted beneath her feet. She gasped as she saw herself, or rather, a younger version of herself playing in the garden. She was carefree, innocent, a stark contrast to the woman who stood trembling now. As Lisa watched, her younger self stopped, looking up as if sensing something. The shadow behind her loomed larger, heavy with an unspeakable truth. In that moment, everything clicked. They weren't just memories. They were warnings. Come closer. The voice beckoned, twisting like smoke through the air. Wouldn't you want to relive the last happy moment? The last time you saw them smile? I don't need to see that, Lisa shouted, her fists clenched at her sides. I need to know what happened, what you did. The laughter faded, but the shadows began to morph, swirling in chaotic motions. Figures started to solidify, resembling her family. They looked haunted, their eyes pleading, full of regrets and pain. Whispers filled the air, calling her name, beckoning her to join them. Lisa, they chorused, a melody filled with despair. We've waited so long, no, she yelled, stepping back. No more lies. I want the truth. A dead silence dropped like a weight in the air, as if time itself held its breath. The shadows froze, and a hush enveloped the garden, heavy and electric, tensing the very fabric of reality. Very well, the deep voice replied, chilling her bones. You are ready to face the past. But remember, the truth can shatter everything you hold dear. In a heartbeat, the shadows rushed toward her, engulfing her in darkness. She felt herself being pulled into a memory not her own, seeing through the eyes of someone living in agony, someone who used to belong to her, trapped within secrets. Lisa gasped as images flooded her mind. A sister, one she had never known. The unmarked name scratched into forgotten family history, crying out in pain. Desperation etched across her face. The air crackled again as Lisa felt her heart drop. No. Who is she? What do I need to do? Make your choice, dear daughter. The voice replayed, merging with the chaotic sound of her sister's wails. The past is alive, and every decision has consequences. The vivid images twisted around her, pulling tight like a noose. Lisa needed to act. Was she prepared to confront what lurked in that memory? Could she face a truth that might not just change her, but could destroy everything she fought to protect? With a deep breath, she clenched her fists, heart racing. I'll do whatever it takes, even if it means I have to sacrifice everything for the truth. But as she stepped further into the darkness, something stirred. The voice transformed, booming heavier. Welcome back, my dear. Let us uncover the heart of your family's curse. With her soul laid bare, Lisa was about to discover what it truly meant to unearth the haunting legacy of the Ellisons. And with it, the stakes had never felt higher. As the shadows circled, a chilling question echoed in her mind. Would she emerge alive, or would she become just another ghost in the garden's twisted history? Darkness consumed her, wrapping around her like a shroud. Lisa's heart raced as she felt the weight of time pressing in on her more fiercely than ever. The air thickened, heavy with memories both bitter and sweet, as visions raced by, each more haunting than the last. In flashes, she saw a procession of faces, each sister lost to the shadows of their family's history. Focus, she whispered to herself, the words tumbling from her lips as desperation clawed at her chest. The world around her spun, shifting between the realm of the living and the echoes of the dead. The shadows pulsated, becoming a vortex that threatened to swallow her whole. Suddenly, she was standing in a room, an attic dimly lit by scattered shafts of golden light slicing through dust motes. Old trunks and faded toys created a mosaic of quieter memories. In the center stood a girl, her hair a storm of unkempt curls, face streaked with tears. Lisa felt an ache in her chest. She knew this girl to be herself, the girl no one remembered. The girl looked up, eyes wild with fear and sorrow. Help me, she cried, her voice a fragile whisper that echoed through the dusty air. Lisa took a step forward, but the ground quaked beneath her, a reminder that reaching for that memory could cost her dearly. Do you see her? The dark voice murmured from the shadows, slithering into her ears. Do you understand now? The years faded away, but not the pain. She was lost before she could even grow. Lost? Lisa echoed, her breath catching. What happened to her? What did you do? Ah, everything has a purpose, the voice lilted, dark mocking woven through its cadence. Every story needs a tragedy to be remembered, a sacrifice for the tale to unfold. She had to be made forgotten so you could survive. A dagger of realization pierced her heart. No, it can't be, you're lying. Lies are the fabric of existence. You need them to shield yourself from the horror of the truth. It hissed with satisfaction. But you desire the truth, don't you? You've entered this dark web willingly. Lisa gritted her teeth, fury rising. This is madness. There has to be a way to save my sisters. Save them, or save yourself. The voice twisted around her, the walls closing in. Choose wisely, dear Lisa. The truth can destroy everything, and sacrifices must be made. To know who you truly are, you may need to revisit what was lost. As the words settled in her mind, the girl in the attic faded, replaced by a swirling mist of silhouettes, her sisters trapped in silence, their eyes wide with fear, and the suffocating whispers of "help us" pulsated in her ears like a desperate heartbeat. Enough, Lisa shouted, the sound raw and fierce. I will not be a pawn in this twisted game. I will uncover the truth, and I will save them. But for every ounce of determination she poured into her voice, the shadows swirled faster, mocking her bravery. What will you sacrifice? The voice asked, and Lisa knew it would take more than she could ever give. Suddenly, a blinding light exploded before her, and she stumbled backward, the force of it rattling her bones. In an instant, she saw her sisters again, faces filled with love, warmth, and fear. They reached out to her, merging back into the memory of the girl in the attic, who now stood eerily still, her expression shifting to something somber, lacking resolve. Please, Lisa, don't let it end like this. Find us before it's too late. Her voice echoed hollowly in the air as the light began to dim again. The gateway pulsed, flickering like a heartbeat fading, and Lisa could feel her grip loosening. Time is running short. The dark voice growled through the shifting chaos. You have one final chance to discover your family's curse. Would she unravel the threads of her family's dark past? Or would the price she had to pay be too steep to bear? The answer lingered, just out of reach, as the whispers grew louder around her. In the growing silence, Lisa's heart thumped ferociously against her ribcage. What would she choose, and what truths waited, trembling in the shadows, eager to be released? A sudden jolt ripped through Lisa as she found herself yanked back into the chaos of the attic. The air shifted, becoming icy and stifling, wrapping around her like chains. Each breath clawed its way out of her throat, and her heart raced with a primal fear. She stood before the fading image of the girl, now a shadow of her former self, eyes reflecting a world of anguish. Lisa, a voice called out, soft yet urgent. It was familiar, yet distant, echoing from somewhere deep within her. You must remember. Clenching her fists, Lisa searched for the source. The dark voice slithered into her mind again, a low whisper nudging her toward despair. You can't bring them back. Not without paying the price. I don't care about your price, she shouted defiantly, the sound seeming to reverberate through the attic and beyond. What will it take to save them? The shadows hissed with amusement, creating a low growl that clawed at her sanity. Ah, but dear girl, the truth is a treacherous burden. The more you seek, the more you will lose. The ground beneath her quaked violently, as if the house itself were alive with its own anguish. She swayed, but steadied herself against an old trunk, its edges rough against her slender fingers. Memories flooded back in flashes, her sisters laughing, teasing, and sharing secrets under the stars. Yet those same stars now seemed to mock her. Please, the forgotten girl shouted, her voice breaking through the layers of despair. You have to break the curse. The key is within you. Key? Lisa screamed back, caught between disbelief and desperation. What does that mean? A sudden rush of wind tore through the attic, scattering dust and debris like confetti of chaos. The walls seemed to pulse, the shadows growing in strength, wrapping around her limbs, imprisoning her in uncertainty. Feel the essence of your family. Seek the truth hidden in the whispers. Only when you face the darkness can you unveil your light, the girl urged, tears spilling from her haunted eyes. With a hefty breath, Lisa stepped forward, feeling the shadows wrap around her tighter, threatening to consume her whole. She was terrified, but something ignited within her, a fierce determination, a fire she didn't know she possessed. I will face it. I will set you free, she declared, pushing aside her fear. The dim light glowed a little brighter. Lisa caught a glimpse of her sisters, their faces pleading and full of life, and the vision sent a surge through her veins. The attic trembled with an urgency, as if the very fabric of her family's past was trying to break free. But then the malevolence roared, claws of darkness clutching at her throat. Remember, Lisa, the voice echoed, deep and mocking. Every truth has a cost, every cost demands a sacrifice. Shadows swirled into a tempest around her, pulling her deeper into despair. Just as it felt unbearable, a clear memory surged through her, a moment she'd almost forgotten. A family heirloom, a locket, chained to her past, whispered with secrets. Find the locket, she gasped, the words spilling from her lips like a lifeline. A vision flashed in her mind, a hidden compartment in the trunk she was leaning against. Instinctively, she fell to her knees and began digging through the layers of dust and faded photographs. The shadows writhed, furious at her resolve, but her heart beat louder than the chaos around her. "Please just tell me where it is," she pleaded, her fingers clawing desperately until they scraped the rough wood of the trunk. The whispers grew into a cacophony, but amidst it all, she could feel the warmth beckoning from within. "Find it before they take the last piece of you." As she pried open the trunk, Lisa's breath hitched. Her heart pounded as she caught sight of something glinting golden and fragile, nestled among the forgotten love notes and childhood trinkets. There, concealed in darkness, was the answer she so desperately sought. But as she reached for it, the very shadows that had cloaked her began to converge, ready to retaliate. Would she grasp the locket and risk it all, or would the darkness snatch away her chance to uncover the truth? The moment of reckoning loomed as shadows danced menacingly, eager to consume her soul. Could she break free? Or was she destined to become another lost echo in her family's tragic history? The moment Lisa's fingers brushed the cool surface of the locket, a surge of warmth ignited within her. It felt alive, pulsing like a heartbeat against her palm. The shadows recoiled momentarily, as if they sensed the power it held. With her heart racing, she ripped the locket from its resting place, holding it up, studying its intricate engravings. But the dark whispers surged back, a relentless tide threatening to drown her. "You are too late, Lisa," they hissed, the malevolence tightening around her, fingers of shadow clawing at her wrists, trying to pull her away from the locket. "No," she cried out, her voice trembling with conviction. "You won't take this from me." She could feel the essence of her sister's love intertwining with her own, a bright thread of light piercing through the darkness surrounding her. With a fierce yank, she tugged the locket free from the trunk's grasp, holding it close to her chest as if it could shield her from the encroaching shadows. The edges of the attic shimmered, reality blurring. The dim light flickered unpredictably, casting frightening images on the wall's visions of her sisters, laughter that twisted into cries for help. "Lisa, don't you understand?" The girl's voice broke through again, desperate yet soothing. "The locket holds the truth. You must open it." Lisa's breath hitched as she recalled their childhood tales, whispers about the locket. Made from gold, it contained portraits of her family, happiness frozen in time. But there was a secret, something they had never spoken of, something so dark it could drown them all. The shadows twisted around her, a deafening chorus urging her to relinquish the locket. "You cannot break the curse. You know the price." With shaking hands, she flipped open the delicate clasp. Inside, the moment felt like time stopped, everything around her fading to silence. A small folded note sat nestled beside the tiny portraits. An overwhelming urge swept through her, drawing her gaze down. She unfolded the paper, trembling, her heart pounding rapidly in her chest, each beat echoing in her ears. Words scrawled across it in her mother's elegant handwriting. "To protect our family, you must confront the darkest truth hidden in our past." What did that even mean? She glanced at the pictures, her mother, her sister's smiles so bright. Yet shadows loomed behind them as if the darkness had always been there, watching, waiting. A loud crack echoed through the attic, like thunder. The shadows screeched in fury, plunging out of control as if disturbed by a rising tide. Lisa's heart raced as she realized the shadows were not just coming from empty corners. They were reflections of her fears taking form, fueled by the secrets she kept buried deep within. "Face it, Lisa," the girl cried out, urgency cracking her voice. "You must confront what's been hidden, before it consumes us all." Lisa looked at the locket one last time. It contained the key to a history she had avoided, and if she wanted to save her sisters, she had to step into the light and reveal the truth. All right, her voice was barely a whisper, filled with fury and fear. "I'll uncover it." As she spoke the words, the attic shook. The dust rained down like confetti of despair, and the shadows screamed in a fury, swirling violently as if trying to rip the air from her lungs. Just then, A piercing scream echoed through the walls, a familiar scream that chilled her blood. Lisa! The call sounded like her sister's voice, a plea for help echoing through the chaos. She turned, eyes wild, trying to catch the sound. A heart-wrenching mix of terror and determination flooding her veins. Whatever was happening, whatever darkness was coming, it was time to confront it all. Where were her sisters? What had they had to face? As shadows clawed at her heels, a question loomed larger than any fear. Could she unravel the past before it was too late? Or would she be swept away alongside the forgotten echoes of her family's tragedy? The locket pulsed in her grasp, urging her onward, but the shadows tilted dangerously. The clock was ticking and she had to decide. Would she embrace the truth or cling to the safety of ignorance? The next chapter waited, the secrets of the Ellison family threatening to surface. But at what cost? The air crackled around Lisa as if electricity surged through it. Shadows clawed at her from all sides, but she tightened her grip on the locket. The weight of her sister's screams pulled her like a tide toward the darkness. "Stay with me," she shouted, half to herself, half to the flickering ether of despair that lingered within the attic. With her heart pounding, Lisa stepped away from the trunk. The locket's glow answered her, illuminating the dim corners of the room, revealing cobwebs that glimmered like silk. Each thread seemed to reach for the past, whispering secrets. She could no longer pretend. The call to uncover her family's history was too potent, too immediate. Then, the eerie screech of the shadows crescendoed, a terrible harmony of wails and cries echoing around her. The air thickened, wrapping her in an oppressive blanket of dread. "Your sisters are in danger," the girl's voice cried, fear threading through each frantic word. "You have to hurry." Yet which way to turn? Her instincts screamed for her to flee, but her soul urged her to delve deeper into the storm. Sweat trickled down her back as she felt the locket pulse like a drum against her chest. With a deep breath, she took a step toward the only window, cracked open just enough for the moonlight to seep inside. That beam of light parted the oppressive shadows for an instant, and there she saw it beyond the veil of darkness. A figure darted through the night, pale and desperate. Jess, her younger sister. Lisa's stomach twisted at the sight. Jess was running, but from what? Lisa's heart raced. That figure was eluding something sinister, and time was running out behind her. The whispers rose again, drowning her thoughts. "Open the locket, reveal the truth. It's the only way." They echoed like a morbid chant, becoming unbearable. "Damn it!" Lisa shouted, the anger boiling over. She couldn't just stand there. She threw the locket open again, clutching it in her hand as if it were a talisman against the encroaching shadows. But this time, instead of portraits, something new emerged, an object shimmering in its depths. A key? Or maybe something darker. A flicker of movement caught her attention, and her breath hitched. "What are you?" It was a soft voice, shivering through the space, and the girl from before appeared again, emerging from the shadows. Her face was pale, but her eyes radiated an urgent glow. "You must protect it. It's not just a key, it's a promise. Pact we made long ago." Pact? Lisa's throat went dry as reality quaked under her feet. The weight of generational darkness pressed in, the walls whispering histories long buried. What kind of pact? The girl darted closer, urgency etched on her face. "There are 3 of you, Lisa. All have a role to play. To escape the curse, you must face the truth, each of you. 3 sacrifices have been made, but to break it, the secrets must spill into light." "What are you saying?" Panic rushed over Lisa as the shadows surged again, gnashing like teeth ready to break. "What about my sisters?" Without answering, the girl pointed to the locket. "The truth is there. You need to see before it's too late." With trembling hands, Lisa focused on the luminous key in the locket. As she stared, images flickered within it. A family gathering, laughter, and then a storm brewing in the distance. What had it been? She leaned closer, squinting against the darkness moving toward her like a predator. Then, a shattering sound broke through the air, and the attic began to tremble. The shadows roared, furious at being denied their hold. "Lisa!" A voice echoed, deeper now, coming from the very walls. It was Jess again calling out, but now it was twisted, garbled. "Help me." Without thinking, Lisa launched toward the sound, running desperately toward the door. "I'm coming, Jess," she screamed, racing against the impending storm of shadows that clawed hungrily at her retreating form. The locket burned in her palm, and with every frantic step, the truth felt on the cusp of revelation. It was only the beginning, and she still didn't know what she would face. But one thing had become clear. She had to confront her family's dark past to save her sisters or be consumed by it herself. And just like that, the shadows surged forward, hungry for her, ready to swallow the truth whole. Would she confront the revelations waiting to explode, or would she be their next victim, fitting into the tragic tapestry of the Ellison family lore? What price would she pay for the truth? The darkness drew closer, and with every heartbeat, Lisa felt its grip tighten. The locket pulsed, urging her deeper into the fray, pushing her to uncover the mysteries that lay ahead. Lisa burst through the door of the attic, the locket clutched tightly in her palm. The shadows roared behind her, clawing at the air, desperate to reclaim their hold. But her heart pounded with purpose. She could feel Jess's fear mingling with her own. "Hold on, Jess," she shouted, her voice ricocheting off the walls. She sprinted through the narrow hall of the old house, memories flooding back, echoes of laughter, soft whispers, and the warmth of sisterhood entwined with the deepest dread. Each step was a promise, fueled by love and an unyielding urge to protect her family. As she entered the living room, a cold stillness enveloped her. The shadows twisted anxious fingers along the edges of the room, forming grotesque shapes against the walls. "Jess," Lisa called out again, her voice breaking, heart racing with terror and hope. The moment felt like it was stretching, time curling like a thread about to snap. Suddenly, she spotted Jess, pale and wide-eyed, trapped in the center of the living room, surrounded by swirling darkness. Shadows tangled around her feet, pulling her toward a dark, swirling vortex in the corner of the room, where mournful whispers echoed like cries for help. Lisa's heart skipped a beat as she rushed forward, breaking through the sea of dark, her determination silencing the chilling cries threatening to engulf her. "Jess," she cried, reaching out and grasping her sister's arm. The touch jolted Jess, but her face was blank, trapped in a web of confusion and fear that mirrored Lisa's own. "Lisa," her voice trembled. "I don't know what's happening." Lisa hugged her fiercely, grounding herself and Jess amidst the chaos. "We're going to get through this. I found the locket. It's the key." She revealed the shimmering piece of jewelry that felt alive in her hands. "We have to confront the truth together." The shadows screeched with fury, thrumming with a malevolent energy that threatened to crush them. "They won't let you escape," a voice bellowed, echoing through the room like thunder. It was the dark force that had sought to claim their family, an embodiment of every pain, every loss, whispering memories they wished to keep buried. Lisa felt her heart race like a wild animal. "No," she shouted, her voice steady against the approaching storm. "We're not afraid of you. We know what you are now. Do you?" The voice twisted cruelly, sending a wave of despair crashing over them. "To confront your past is to inherit its suffering." But the locket pulsed with a warmth that kindled a flicker of resolve. "Together, Jess, we can find the truth. To break this cycle, we must face it head-on." With a deep breath, they both turned toward the encroaching shadows, the warmth of the locket enveloping them like a protective shield. The darkness surged forward, howling with rage, but Lisa opened the locket, revealing its secrets, pictures of their family. Smiles that glowed with warmth but also traces of unspoken sorrow. The sight ignited a spark within her. "You may have taken my sisters, but you will not take Jess. We will confront what has haunted our family for too long." The shadows recoiled, the energy surging in violent waves as Lisa focused on the images, hundreds of memories sealed within the locket. "What happened to all of you?" she whispered, tears of sorrow creeping in. "What must we face?" The swirling darkness paused, a hush falling over the room, as if it were listening. Time felt suspended, the air charged with an echo of shared pain from generations before. At that moment, piercing clarity surged through Lisa. "You're nothing without us," she shouted, wrapping her arm around Jess tighter. "You cannot define our story. We choose our path." With that proclamation, she closed the locket and thrust it toward the swirling shadows, heart racing. Light erupted from the locket, filling the room and forcing the darkness to retreat. In that blinding glow, she saw the faces of her sisters Emily, Sarah, each begging for liberation. "Help us, Lisa. Face what we could not," they echoed, a chorus of souls bridging the space between grief and hope. The weight of centuries of sadness surged forward. "We're coming for you," Lisa cried, pushing through the chaos. Jess pressed against her side, two sisters uniting against the darkness that sought to tear them apart. Just as the light met the shadows, truth unraveling in a maelstrom of color and agony, they plunged into the heart of the darkness together. The heat of the locket enveloped them, consuming every fragment of fear that had held them captive for far too long. With a final surge of strength, Lisa shouted, "Enough!" The darkness trembled, flickering as memories poured forth. The shadows twisted, reforming into visions of their past, fragments of joy, laughter, but also tears and haunting regrets that filled the space where their sisters had once stood. But there, within the swirling memories, emerged the hidden secrets, the pact their mother had made long ago to protect the family, to shield them from a far darker fate. As the truths poured into the open air, Lisa and Jess locked eyes, determination blazing between them. With one final cry, they surged forward, ready to embrace the truth, ready to break the curse once and for all. In the heart of the storm, light burst through, illuminating their path as the darkness shattered into dust. The screams faded, replaced with silence that clung heavy in their hearts. Sinking down, Lisa and Jess fell to their knees, finally at peace yet aching for the lost moments. The shadows were gone, but their memories, their sacrifices would forever remain woven into the tapestry of their lives. "I wish they could be here," Jess whispered, her voice soft but empowered. "They are," Lisa replied, tears coursing down her cheeks. "In every choice we make, in every moment we embrace." The dawn began to emerge beyond the horizon, filtering through the shattered remnants of darkness, as the sisters stood tall together at the center of their family's legacy. In that quiet acceptance, they finally understood. They were not defined by the darkness. They had broken the cycle, and with every step into the future, they would honor the memories of those who had come before them. "Let us go home," Lisa said, taking Jess's hand as they stepped forward into the light, their hearts full of hope and determination. The darkness was gone. The curse had been broken. But more importantly, they were free to write their own story, a tale of resilience, love, and the unbreakable bond of sisterhood that would forever carry them through. And as the sun rose over Eldridge, a sense of peace settled over the town, a new beginning from the ashes of the past. Now, dear friends, if you enjoyed this beyond belief, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support makes all the difference.